Welcome, everybody, to our latest PR News LinkedIn Live chat. Our special guest today is Scott Dobroski, who is the Senior Director of Corporate Communications at Glassdoor, which is one of the world's largest job and recruiting sites. Scott has been at Glassdoor for 9 years, so he's seen Glassdoor progress from a startup to what it is today. And before he joined Glassdoor, and this really scores points with us. Scott was a journalist. He worked in TV news. He was a news writer, and then he was a reporter, and then he was an anchor. He's also a top-notch swimmer, which we'll be talking about later. Scott, welcome to our LinkedIn Live chat. Great to have you.
Well, Seth, thank you. What an intro. So glad to be here.
Okay. Tell us, how's it going out in San Francisco, which is where you are?
Things are going okay, considering, of course. I live in an area where there's a lot of people. California is doing not so great right now in terms of everything COVID, but San Francisco is a county that does seem to be doing okay right now. And then, personally and professionally, I'm safe and healthy and continue to do quite busy at work right now, as you can imagine. And I know we'll talk about this, but this has been a real comms PR science experiment, if you will, meaning this so much has changed internally and externally due to COVID.
Yeah, tell us what has changed. One of the things that have changed externally. I mean, in this moment where so many people are jobless, what does a communicator who works for a job recruiting site and a job rating site do? How do you break through?
Well, we are able to break through because we actually serve a need right now, but from a lot of people. But just for some clarity, our external program has had to change, our internal program has had to change. But to speak to the external first, our strategy and approach around how we promote Glassdoor as a useful and effective job site, our playbook is out the window. And I have a great smart team, a very powerful team at Glassdoor, and we've all been thrown for a loop, as has everyone, meaning we were really good at our playbook of campaign, business news, product news, content, data news, embargo, get the right contacts, build relationships, all the PR 101 stuff that you learn. We really were quite effective at it. Now, not all of it, but much of it is out the window. So to promote Glassdoor, and we want usage on our site amongst job seekers. So we want to promote Glassdoor, but also make sure we're being sensitive and not taking advantage or seen as opportunistic due to this crisis. So what we know people want right now is what they've always wanted. They want to find the jobs available now. They want to know what the data and job trends look like in their local areas, their industries, and across the world. So we're really leveraging data from our economic research team right now, and that has proven invaluable when we go out to the world in terms of promoting Glassdoor. And so we operate quicker campaigns at a higher frequency. So we are saying something externally every single week right now, whereas sometimes we would, look at campaigns and build a beautiful calendar. And again, all of it's out the window. This news cycle is so rapid that we need to respond to it.
Scott, tell us if those of us who haven't been on your site, what sort of things are we going to see? What kind of communications do you do typically externally?
Well, on our site, you'll find the latest jobs paired with what employees really have to say, ratings and reviews and commentary about what it's like to work in a specific job at a specific company. And so externally, what you'd see from us is a lot of labor market, job market insights, commentary, Glassdoor's point of view, our economist's point of view on what's going to happen, a lot of tips and advice on how to find the right jobs right now, how to find, what the heck employers are even hiring right now, where are they, who are they? And then also how to get noticed conventionally and some unconventional tips right now on how to find a job now, which is, a recent event we did online free for job seekers. And there's some nuances there.
Tell me, I know you do events. You used before coronavirus, you did live events.
Yeah.
Now they're virtual events. Tell me, what's a Glassdoor live event? What was it like? And what is a Glassdoor virtual event? What goes on at these things?
Oh boy. Before, they were geared towards, well, what they're geared towards, that focus at a high level is not so different. We want to help employers recruit and hire the right talent. We want to help job seekers find the right jobs at the right companies where they truly know what it's like to work there. So they stay there for a long time. They're treated equally and well and getting paid fairly. Okay, so that kind of still holds true. But what happened is you have millions of Americans who unexpectedly found themselves unemployed at the same time that you saw double-digit percentages of employers put on hiring freezes or pauses. So where are the jobs? And so the events that we do for job seekers, and one that we did called How to Get a Job Now, was totally geared with this angle, helping unemployed Americans find jobs now. And it wasn't, while it was geared towards people unfortunately newly unemployed, it still had content geared towards anyone who wants to make a pivot or job switch during this pandemic.
Scott, are employers hiring now, and who? And are communicators being looked for today?
Yeah, let's get into that. And I
Okay.
did pull out that data nugget. So employers are hiring. The truth is, not at the same rate as before COVID. Up until about a month ago, job postings on Glassdoor, and we have all of the online job postings, were down about 29% compared to before COVID. Now, in recent weeks, they're starting to inch back. So they're still down quite a bit, but they're not down as badly as they were in April or May. So employers are hiring. The industries we know that are hiring the most right now, perhaps no surprise, tech is still hiring, even though there have been some rough patches. Healthcare has seen some hiring surges. Professional services, and actually kind of those are the three, I should say, with being certain, are three industries that are continuing to hire. Now, communications jobs, right now on Glassdoor, there's more than 20,000 communication PR jobs open across the country. So there's still a lot. I admit I can always go back and look, but find the data of how it was before COVID. But we know PR and communication jobs are down overall. They continue to be down. A lot of people have been cut, furloughed. Healthcare in communication jobs are actually up. Perhaps no surprise.
Right, right. And I hasten to mention that we did a poll. PR News did a poll. Now about a month ago. And we have another poll in the field asking the same question, and that is, will the industry rebound to what it was? Will it be greater, or will it, be declined? And in the first poll that we did, which was only about a month ago, about 80% of the people said it's going to be as good, if not better, because at this moment, companies realize how important communications is.
I actually agree with that. So I think it will be as strong, if not stronger. And I've had this discussion with people at Glassdoor, other communicators, as well as some of my comms colleagues around the San Francisco Bay Area. Companies are very attuned right now to their corporate reputations, which affect everything: business, financials, users, customers, etc. So what they are saying about their business, and now we're seeing it even more, and we already knew this, social issues, corporate responsibility, D&I issues in particular. We know that matters a lot to stakeholders and different audiences. And so if there's a silver lining here, it's that what we do, communicators and PR professionals, I do agree with the masses there on your site that there is a need, there's an appetite, and also, right, when there's so much news going on, that's sometimes when you need people like us even more to get the messages out, to put the information out there and make sure it's coming across credibly.
Let me ask you this. We talk about in communications, we always talk about uh, a mass of communicators chasing fewer and fewer journalists. I'm going to look at the general employment market today and say, and ask you actually, are many job seekers chasing few jobs? And if so, how do I stand out as a job seeker?
Right now, we know that there are millions and millions of people who are searching for jobs. So this is an interesting trend, and I was trying to get not too in the weeds, but currently right now, compared to pre-COVID, and this is across all employment sites because we can see the usage in data, not just Glassdoor, but across all employment sites, usage, job searching is still down somewhat before COVID. But like I said, it's starting to come back. April and May were really bad. June starting to get a little stronger, and we expect as people who may come out of unemployment benefits, furloughs, or other situations, we actually expect job searching to ramp up again in the coming months. And again, this is a trend likely across all job sites. As you said, the problem is jobs will likely not bounce back as fast. So yes, you've got to stand out. The quick summary here, and this is why we held our virtual event called How to Get a Job Now. You can Google it and find it, but some quick tips. Here's what matters, and we know this because of where we work and working with employers. Professional summary at the top. This is a must. And it's not about what you, the job seeker, want. I see this from a lot of comms professionals when I get resumes as well. It's not about what you want in a job. It's letting the employer and company know how you can fix and solve some of their challenges. So if you go, wait a minute, what is this? It's in the job description. Look at what they want you to do. There's going to be some inkling of their mission or the business objectives. From a communication lens, what's your skill set? So make 2 to 3 sentences, unique there. I know it's a little extra work, but customize every resume. That's a must these days, especially when you're competing with more people. How do your skills fit in? Quantify everything. Numbers, percentages. I know sometimes, and this is a great debate. I love this debate, by the way. How do we measure PR? It's gone on for years, right? There should be a line of measurement, I believe, at every company and every shop. There's got to be some way for you to measure at least something that's relevant to your client or your audience there. So break out in percentages. How have you contributed? And then the final point is respect the process, then go around it. So what I mean by that is apply formally, hit the button, give it about 24 hours, and then it's too easy this day and age to find out who a comms manager is, or a director, or a VP. You can find it on LinkedIn, other social channels, and then email them. Let them know that you've applied formally, and then that you are so interested, you would like to ask for some help to get your resume noticed, or if they can please review your resume. And like I said, it's also too easy this day and age to find the email pattern at the company. Most of them are first name dot last name at company.com, right, or first initial last name at company.com. If you email both and you only get one bounce back, well, then you know the other one went through.
Wow. Okay. That's a great tip.
That is how I got my job at Glassdoor.
Is that how you got it? Really?
There is, yeah. I was applying during, again, just coming out of the Great Recession 9 years ago, and I had to get noticed. I was also applying from another state at the time. And so I hit, the apply button. And then the next day I emailed the leaders, actually just sent it to the PR at Glassdoor.com alias. They were on it. And I heard back in 20 minutes. Wow. It was a done deal in 7 days. So.
Wow. Well, there it is. Speaking of good tips, please, to those of you who are watching now, please send us questions. You can hear how Scott has all the tips about job hunting and job searching and communications. And now we're going to ask him about communications measurements. So please send in some questions. We'd be glad to address them. One of the things that I know is your philosophy, Scott, is strategy plus execution plus measurement is key.
Yes.
Tell us about that, but emphasize the measurement, if you would.
I sure
will. How do you
will.
measure there? How do you measure at Glassdoor?
Well, one, keep in mind, the value of measurement is often if you can measure it, well, then you can improve it and you can see how it's improved. So the strategy there is instead of just kind of going willy-nilly, if you will, and coming up with plans and putting them out to the world and then seeing some good traction, but not really knowing how it has performed, I believe measurement is key. And I got to be honest, working at a technology company, 9 years in, this is still my first technology company. So I didn't come here with a tech background. I didn't know what data scientists meant at the time, or even really software engineer too much. But they were an incredibly data-driven company. So I was a pretty good communicator and PR guy, I like to think, good storyteller in my news days. But the measurement side, I learned it all on the job. So I say that because don't be scared that if you're not sure what that looks like, it can come. Okay. So it really goes back to first the business objectives. This is really important because measurement can look different at any shop or company you're at. So, early days of Glassdoor, we wanted the high level awareness, PR 101, throw us out to the world and get a lot of top level positive awareness. So quite frankly, we measured quantity of news stories at the time. We looked at quality of the news stories. So quantity, using a piece of software. Quality, we kind of came up with what were the tier one outlets that we really wanted to get in. Hopefully that's not too hard to figure out. Respective for your audience. And then in addition to the quality game, yes, we did use a piece of software to measure sentiment. And we're very fortunate at Glassdoor that we have a very high level, like always 90% and above of positive sentiment. It's a positive story to tell. So that's how we did it in the early days. We still track actually quantity and quality to this day in the US, online, and in broadcast in our key markets such as the UK. And then we also go on to now measure internal comms and or influencer comms or executive visibility comms. And so the measurement level has expanded as our program has expanded over the years.
Can you give me one example? You don't have to give me too much detail, but give me one example where measurement actually helped you change something that you were doing, either internally or externally.
Sure. So if we were looking at the quantity game, and I say this because there are a lot of brands and smaller companies who do want, you're right, I feel like they're always asking PR pros, can you get me in here? Can you get me in here? How many can you get me? So that was part of it. So one strategic change there was look for who is syndicating. So at the time, if we were, this takes some work. These are no easy outlets, but if we got in Reuters or Associated Press, and sometimes Bloomberg or Washington Post, they syndicated. And all of a sudden, we were also then in the local prominent news outlets in every metro across the US. So while it was great to be in Reuters.com, which syndicated to maybe Business Insider or Forbes, it was also really important to get into key markets where local job seekers read local news: San Francisco Chronicle, Miami Herald, Houston Chronicle, Dallas Morning News, and so on. So that's one way where it did change. And then I would say when we also looked at measurement, we would see what campaign worked and then which one didn't work. And if something was up and something was down, we could then look at it and go, why was this successful? Why was this not successful? Should we do more of the successful, or did we do something over here that actually was just detrimental and maybe we didn't do our best work? So it's and we actually keep a tracker also on every campaign with news hits, social hits, user hits, traffic driven by email. So then you can just hit boop, a little filter, and we can see which campaigns are most successful in terms of popularity. Again, this is for the promote side of our program, not so much sometimes when we do, protect or defend, very corporate-y, type of comms.
We're, as I don't have to tell you, we're in a pandemic. What is the biggest change for your external communications that the pandemic has brought? What are you doing differently or thinking about differently now that we're in a pandemic?
Well, we have found the news cycle is faster and even more rapid. And we really can try and build relationships with reporters and ask them what's going on in the newsroom. And several of them confirm this with us. Sometimes they're working on a story and then it goes away, or it comes back in 2 weeks and they're on the breaking news story that's happening that day. So we felt, and it has now been confirmed, we now deliver a higher quantity of campaigns at a more of a bite-size offering, if you will. Okay. So we are saying things more frequently, 1 time per week, to be honest. We used to maybe say something, put something out to the world a few times per month. But it's a little more bite-sized right now and digestible, so they can insert it into a story quickly, update a story, use it as an angle, and then take it and run as another thought idea. And we haven't used embargoes. We used to really use embargoes, and that has proven advantageous for us. As soon as it's ready, we publish it on site. We do custom outreach, and then we do blast. But as I hope everyone knows, you've got to be super careful about blasting. Your media list is always got to be up to date for that.
Scott, so we were talking at the beginning that we alluded to the fact that you come from the journalism side, mostly as I recall, television.
Yes.
What insight from the television world, even though it's been 9 or so years now, what sort of insight from television reporting do you still use today and you impart to your team?
I love that question because I really, it has helped me tremendously. It is not an afterthought. I know exactly what reporters want. I know how they like to be approached. It's not a one-size-fits-all model. Relationships certainly matter, but that doesn't mean you ping someone every day and ask them how their day is or what they ate for dinner. There's too many emails there. So we have built a program built on relevancy, custom pitching, exclusives, mass blasting when necessary, sparingly. So it has really, I think, empowered me to be a comms practitioner. It has really empowered me to share this with my team as well, as we have, some younger players and as people progress in their career. It's really served our program well. So it goes back to storytelling 101 and putting ourselves in the shoes of the reporter and what do they want. And if it doesn't hold up to us as interesting or relevant, then do not put it out. Got to find that angle.
Okay. Scott, last question for you. Thank you for being so generous with your time. This has been wonderful. I note that you are a swimmer. You swam in college. Do you have a pool there at your home? And if not, how are you keeping up with your swimming? Or if you do have a pool, how are other swimmers that you know keeping up with swimming who don't have pools? What's going on in the swimming world?
Well, I live in the city of San Francisco, so I do not have my own swimming pool. They are all closed at this time and even outside of the city. But I love water so much that I did buy a wetsuit, which I did not have previously on Amazon. And I have gone to a place called Aquatic Park, which is in the edge of San Francisco. It's very cold. So I had to make sure I was getting a right wetsuit, but I've gone there and it's about 55 to 60 degrees and I put my suit on and I'll go swimming in the bay and sometimes I'll get a big, wave of ocean water and I don't love it as much as a pool. Some people love it. I still prefer a pool, but that is what I'm trying to do. And I probably don't go as much as I should. Let me tell you that it's still a shock on my face. You're completely covered in rubber and that material, but on the face, I swear for 5 minutes, I'm always like, why am I doing this? This is really painful. But
well, Scott, I think improvisation is probably the rule of the day with this pandemic, and you've just given us a great example of that. So thank you so much for being our guest. I do want to remind everybody that we do these chats just about every week. They're free. They're on demand. And we also do some free webinars. We've got one coming up on August 18th from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called How to Do More with Less, a holistic approach to PR. That's a great topic, I think. Scott, you'd agree. And Aflac, our good friends at Aflac, are the sponsor for that webinar. So if you go on our site, you will see ways to register for free for that webinar on August 18th from 1 to 2 p.m. It will be on demand as will this conversation. Scott Dobroski from Glassdoor, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
Okay.